Welcome. In this explainer, we're going to do something really cool. We're taking all those big, abstract ideas about life and turning them into a practical, step-by-step framework for your own personal growth. We're going to be exploring this incredible mindset called flow, which is all about helping you move through life with way more purpose and a whole lot less resistance. It's really about unlocking what you're truly capable of. So let me just ask you, does this sound familiar? You ever feel like you're just kind of going through the motions, stuck in this loop, maybe even feeling like a victim of your own schedule, just trying to make it through the day? We've all been there. And the solution we're looking at today is this idea of flow. Now, for our purposes, I want you to think of it less like that deep focus state you hear about, and more as a total mindset, a way of being that seriously increases your impact, your capacity, and frankly, your enjoyment of life. It's about getting away from trying to force every single outcome and instead finding a more natural, powerful way to navigate your world. So, how do we get there? Well, here's our roadmap. We're going to walk through this really clear 4-part empowerment framework. First, we'll reclaim our agency. Then, we'll face those problems we've been ignoring. After that, we'll resolve our internal conflicts. And finally, we'll find the power in our own unique voice. Ready?
Okay, let's dive right into this first step because it's absolutely crucial. It all starts with understanding and taking back the power that we already have.
Let's just start with this beautiful kind of poetic question. Who made the rules you live by? Who's the one keeping score? When you really think about it, the answer often points right back at us, doesn't it? So often we're living by rules and keeping score in a game that we ourselves created. And that brings us to this massive idea. Shifting from a victim mentality where life just happens to us to what we're calling a co-conspirator mindset. This is where you realize you're an active participant. Yeah, someone else might be heckling from the sidelines, but ultimately you are the one who chooses the impact it has. You are a part of what happens. Now, a super simple but incredibly profound way to start doing this is just by changing your language. When we say, I have to do this, it feels like a prison, right? An obligation. But just reframing it to, I get to do this, man, that completely changes the energy. It shifts the whole dynamic from a burden to an opportunity. And that one little switch can transform your entire relationship with your daily life. So, where do we go from here? Okay, now that we've started to reclaim our sense of agency, it's time to turn around and face those big, scary challenges. The ones we've been pretending aren't there. We all know this story, don't we? It's the classic tale of procrastination. First, you just walk past the problem, hoping it'll magically disappear. But it doesn't. Instead, it feeds on your inattention. It drinks from your denial. And it just grows and grows until it completely fills the room, and suddenly it can be ignored no more. So here's the crucial point, the big reframe. What if we stop seeing these things as problems? What if they aren't obstacles at all? What if they are actually gifts, like necessary experiences designed specifically for our growth? These are the lessons life needs us to learn because they're absolutely essential for our evolution. And this quote just says it all. I wouldn't have wished it on myself, but I wouldn't give it back either. I mean, think about the most difficult times in your own life. You never would have chosen them, right? But would you trade the lessons you learned? Would you trade the person you became because of them? Probably not. That wisdom is priceless. All right, we've reclaimed our agency, we're facing our challenges. Now it's time to go even deeper, to tackle those internal conflicts that are unconsciously holding us back. This brings us to a really fascinating concept called dissonance. This is that super confusing inner mess where you really desire something, like, say, success or wealth, but at the very same time, you hold all these negative feelings or judgments about the people who already have it. And what happens is this creates a powerful self-sabotage loop. Your subconscious picks up on this conflict, and it basically thinks, whoa, wait a second. You don't like people who are rich, but you want to be rich? I got to protect you from becoming something you dislike. And so it finds all these subtle, sneaky ways to make sure you never quite get there. So how in the world do we break that loop? We have to resolve that dissonance. And it comes down to this. Instead of jumping to judge, we practice believing the best in others. Instead of feeling that pang of resentment or envy, we consciously, actively choose to celebrate their success. This literally shifts our energy and sends a new message to our subconscious that this state we desire is actually a good, positive thing. And this brings us to our final and maybe the most empowering step of all. After doing all this important inner work, it's time to express the unique, powerful perspective that you've gained. Please, never, ever forget this powerful truth. Your story, your ideas, your words, they have the power to create real, tangible change in the world. We need every single perspective to build a better world, and that absolutely includes yours. A common trap our minds fall into, I know mine does, is comparison. We look at other people and think, well, my story isn't as dramatic, or as important, or as interesting. But that's a total fallacy. Your unique experience, your journey, it isn't meant for comparison. It is a necessary, vital contribution to the whole. Look, even if you feel shy, or you feel unqualified, or you think you have nothing new to say, sharing your truth still matters. Immensely. It can make one other person out there feel less alone. It can provide the exact hope and inspiration that someone needs to hear at that exact moment. You might never even see the ripple effect, but trust me, it's there. So, we end with this. The whole journey through flow, reclaiming your agency, facing your problems, resolving that inner conflict, it all leads you right here. It has cultivated a unique perspective that only you have, and the world is waiting for it. The only question left is, what will you share?